I have to do it here and then go to the screen. What I'm going to do, this is just to go over the test review, which in all fairness, some of this is a little bit new. It's not, it takes everything that we've learned and takes it just a step further. Now here's on number E is where they start looking different. So 12 over x is the function for h. So h is here and there's h of x. And then I'm going to go 12. And then just instead of dividing by x, I'm just going to divide by a. Now I'm working on Cami, which so I'm trying to type this in. And that's the answer. You can't do anything else with it. It's just 12 over a. So it's just a new expression. It's not like these first A, B, C, D, you'll get a number answer.
Yeah.
You'll get something.
I figured, but I was just trying to make sure because I was just like, they look a little confusing.
Yeah. Now this one's, it's got a whole expression, B plus C. So let me find G and type that one in. I'm going to use a text box. Negative 3x plus 1. Okay, so I'm going to go negative 3, but here's the x. So where the x is, I'm going to put this whole thing, b plus c plus 1. And really, I mean, that's the answer. Okay. You could distribute and the answer could look different if you wanted to, but basically that's it. If you wanted to, you could say negative 3b minus 3c plus 1. That's an alternate answer. So let me type negative 3b minus 3c plus 1. So either one of those is the correct answer. So I just, wherever x is, you're going to put that parentheses thing.
Okay.
So it just looks, it's an expression instead of a single number answer. Like the answer, this one might be 3 or negative 2, and this one is not a separate answer. Now these three are different. So here, like on this one, what's the x on D?
7.
7, that's the x. The x is the one inside the parentheses. And what number you get out, let's see, this one's 2x plus 9. Is that it up there? Yeah, 2x plus 9. So then I go 2 times 7 plus 9, plus 9. And that's equal to, let's see.
23.
23, 14 plus 9. So what is 23? 7 is the x.
Y.
And 23 is the y. The number that you put in, the input number is in the parentheses, and it's a 7. And the output number is the 23. And we can convert that to an ordered pair, which we're going to do here on the second part. We're going to take the following statements and turn them into coordinate points or an ordered pair. But this one, H, it says find X.
So they give you Y, but you have to find the X.
Yeah, so I have to look at G of X. Let's see, G of X is negative 3x plus 1. I'll do that here. Negative 3x plus 1, and that's equal to 16. So I have to treat that like an equation. So if this is my x, I have to look around the x to see what's the next thing to do. So the first thing to do, if this is the x, are we going to get rid of the 3, the x, or the 16?
The x.
Well, we're going to leave the x, and we have to get rid of that 1 first. You always get rid of your anything that's plus or minus.
Okay.
The one that's sticking to it is the last one to go. So I'm gonna subtract 1 from both sides. I don't know if I'm gonna have room. Let me see if I can give myself more room here. So I still have negative 3x equals 15. This part right there is canceled out, plus 1 and the minus 1. Is that looking familiar?
Yeah.
Okay. Now what I have to do is divide both sides.
By negative 3?
Yeah. So let's see. Divide negative 3. Divide negative 3.
Equals negative 5?
X equals negative 5. Mm-hmm. Oh, now my lines.
The first time I tried to erase and I used the top box, I erased everything.
Yeah, that's why when I go to erase, I try to go to the bottom one because this one will erase everything. Yeah. And then I still like to, I don't know, do something like that. So this one, we're still looking for x, but now we're going to use h of x. So h of x is 12 over x equals negative 2. Let's see. Let's see. I'm going to try to just 12 over x equals negative 2. Oh, not too bad. Okay. So, oh, sorry. There's a couple of ways to think about solving this one. It's the weird, because we need to find x. So I don't know what x is. One is, you know, don't overestimate the fact that your brain can just think through it a little bit, sometimes with simple numbers. Like 12 divided by some number, and my answer is negative 2.
Negative 6.
So yeah, I mean, that's it.
That's what I did. That's what I did for age. Like, instead of doing that method you just showed, like, I knew that method, but I didn't use it. I just basically used common sense, and I was just like, put 1 and 1 together. So
Yeah, I mean we've developed these mathematical intuitions. Even if you don't think you're good at math, you have some kind of an intuition, and don't be afraid to use it. Now, some of the hard ones, it just is not going to work. Now, there's a couple of ways to work this one, but this basically, you can't work with the x this way. So if you didn't have that, what I want to do is multiply this by x and this by x. Now what that does is it's going to let me cancel those out, because this is a divide x and that's a multiply x. Then I have, let me change it. Let me go back to black, makes more sense. So then I have 12 on this side, the equal sign, and the negative 2x. It looks like it's. And so the x is here, and when the number is touching the letter, then you divide. So we divide negative 2, divide negative 2. Those cancel out, so x is equal to whatever you get when you divide that, which is, we already figured that one out. And see my little plus sign floating? It's having a little seizure. Now I have it back. So you have to work out an equation. Now this last one, I'm pretty sure I'm not going to put one like that on the test, because this one's going to go into something a little bit different than we've not done before, because f of x has got a square in it. We're still looking for x. So this bottom row is about finding the x. So I have to find the function rule, and f of x was x squared, which I can't type the square. So I'm gonna have to use the caret, this little raised to, which is on top of my 6. That's how I find it. So that's, if you don't have a square, that's the way you can write a square, is put that little, it's called a caret. Plus, oh, where'd it go? I'm still trying to type in that little box. Plus 7 equals 23. Now I'm trying to get to the x. And so we got rid of first anything that's plus or minus. So I see that plus 7. So I'm going to go down here and go minus 7, minus 7. Now that these 7s, the plus 7 and minus 7 go away. So what I still have is x squared equals 16. So let's see, drawing. These 7s have canceled out. So there's like my x squared drops down. Now to unsquare a square, when you have a square, like x squared, to undo that, because I don't want x squared, I want x, I have to square root. And so, well, maybe it's going to let me keep typing. So to unsquare the square, now I just have x equals, and then I think what number times itself is 16?
4.
4. Now, and the tricky part, actually there's 2 answers, because also a -4 will work.
It would give you that positive 16 with the -4?
Yeah, because you're multiplying it by itself.
Okay.
You're going negative times negative. That's a very good question. A very good comment. So yeah, the square root is asking what number do I multiply by itself and I can get the 16. So there's those. You know, the main kind of this A, B, C, D, you should easily be able to pass the test if you can do those 4 kind. To really get the A on the test, you should be able to do one of these, like H or I. I don't think these are on the test, but they're good. The E and F. But it's good to practice with those because they might show up on some other way. The one with the square, I'm glad. I mean, it's good to include with some practice. But again, just be careful and look at, are they giving me the X or are they giving me the Y? So the 16, it's not in parentheses. You have to really think. They're giving me the Y. And that yellow box is kind of annoying, maybe. So, you know, when they give you a number, you don't always put it in. If the number's in parentheses, it's the one that goes inside. So this one goes inside, but this one doesn't because it's not in the parentheses. And that's where you have to set up the little equation. Okay, I'm going to move on to the next section. And you just say stop if you need to.
Okay.
So this is giving me a statement. It's just f of -1 equals 1. And I want to change the statement into a coordinate point, and then I'm going to plot them. So there's 2 steps. So the first thing, I'm going to take this. Oh, I wanted to keep that one. I just wanted to move it. And so the coordinate point is when we use the parentheses. Which one is the x?
-1.
And which one's the y?
1.
So we just change it to where it's, instead of being written like this, it's written like this. Now this is a coordinate point, which I can graph. I can go to the origin, -1, 1, and there's that point. I just plotted it. Go to the left 1 and then up 1. So what would be the coordinate point for B?
2, 7.
Yes, 2, 7. And let's do all of them. What about this one?
1, -1.
Yeah, and here we're using parentheses because the parentheses tells me that the first one is an X and the second one is a Y. And so it's specifically when you have 2 numbers with parentheses, it's a point. Okay, last one.
3, 0.
Forgot the parentheses on that one. Okay. Let me see if I can do it with this point. 2, so I'm going to go over 2. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. There's the 0.27. I'm going to do C. How do I get to C?
To see 1 to the right and then down 1.
Yeah. And how do I get to the D?
3 to the right.
Yep. Okay. Those made little circles, but that's okay. I can't decide on this app if it's easier to try to color in a circle or this one.
Mm-hmm.
Let's see. I think someone else is joining. Let me check in. Yeah. Where'd they go? Oh, well, let's see. They'll show back up because someone else was trying to join. Okay. So this is taking something that's written in function notation and changing it to an ordered pair, or we also called a coordinate point. And then we took the point and then we went to the graph and then found the graph for it. So that's something you can do. Now this one's a little bit different than we've had before. This is the graph. This curve is the function. Mm-hmm. And it's right here we say it's f of x. So this is f of x, this curve that I'm tracing. Okay. And it's representing a bunch of values. And I can use this picture to find the values. So I need to find f of -4. Well, what is the -4?
The y. I mean the x.
It's the x. So I'm gonna go to -4, 1, 2, 3, 4 along the x-axis. Mm-hmm. Now this is the x-axis. I'm gonna look to find the y. So I'm gonna follow that line up. So what's the y value right there?
2.
Yep.
So -4, 2.
Yeah. And there's my cursor just doing its thing for a little bit. Yeah, you look across. So I go to the X, follow until I hit the line, and then read along there. So this one is 2. See if you can, so this one, what is the 0? Is it the X or the Y?
The X.
Yeah, so find the 0 on the X and then see if you can tell me what's the Y right there.
Would it be 0, 0?
Yeah, because here's where X is 0, and I'm right, the curve is passing right there. I don't need to go anywhere, and so the Y value is also 0. This is the point right in the middle that is 0, 0. Okay, let's find the 3. So you always have to ask, are they giving me the X or are they giving me the Y? So what is this one?
The X.
The X is 3. Now this one may be a little tricky. Here's the 3. And then I go to the curve. What's the Y value right there?
Well, it's not 1. It's not even 2. It's like 1 something. Or are we able to put 2?
Well,
Or
you're
like
going to put
negative.
1 point and then you can guess, like 1.8, 1.7, 1.9, anything there. So here's 1, you're right. So we're going down, so it's a negative, but it doesn't make to the 2. So it's somewhere between here. I'm guessing it's a little bit more than half. It looks like it's further than half. So I made a number bigger than 5. But, you could put negative 1.7 or 1.9, 1.6. And that'd be good. Okay, let's see. Now, this one, f of negative 5. Is negative 5, is it the X or is it the Y?
The X. Negative 5, 0.
Yep. So let's go to, this is the X, so I'm going to go to the negative 5 on the X number line, and there's no place to go because the line is right there, so that's 0 for the Y. Now what about this one? Is the negative 2, is this the X or the Y?
The Y.
Okay, so I'm going to have to shift my eyes and look at the negative 2 on the Y is right there. And then I have to find where the curve is, and there's where it hits the curve. And so what are we looking for? It says find X.
So negative 2, 2.
So the X is 2. I mean, if you wrote it as a point, you'd still have the 2 first. So this is still a point 2, 2, negative 2. But your brain is going to work it backwards. It's gonna, you're gonna go to the negative 2 first and then find the 2. Okay. So the answer is 2. But the ordered pair would be 2, negative 2. Now, this one's a little different. So find X when f of X is equal to 0. So is this 0? What's this 0? Is it the X or the Y?
The Y.
Okay. So I'm going to try to find where Y is 0 and then figure out where does the line cross.
Zero.
Yes. Right there. Is there another place though?
When Y, negative 5?
Yeah. Because there's right here. So if I look here where Y is equal to 0, it's this one and this one. Now sometimes these are the x-intercepts, or it's where the curve crosses the x-axis. And sometimes they're called the zeros because it's like, where is it equal to 0? It's equal to 0 here and here. So this one actually has 2 answers. And this is my symbol for and, unless anyone's confused about that. I'm saying 0 and -5. So these are not difficult. It's just a little bit tricky. You have to kind of visualize. If the number's in the parentheses, you go to that X and then follow the curve to find the Y.
So like, I know you give us the paperwork and stuff like that, but like, let's say I wasn't using Cami, right? Are we just able to write out the answers, or do we have to show like on the graph where we got the answer?
You could just show this, but you know, do what your brain needs. If your brain kind of needs to go through this process, you know, sketch it out and follow the dots. You know, if it says graph, you're going to have to, on your paper, do some graphing. And, you know, I know that there was a couple of people that said that printed materials would be good. And I'm happy to do that. The trick is just giving me enough lead time so I can get those copies made, and then you can get them in time for class. So it's just a tricky part, but I'm still willing to play at that. Oops, that was not the one I wanted to down play. Let me see if I can find it again. It's down here. There we go. Okay, so we've got another page. Now this page is, oh yeah, swine flu. I've never done this one during the pandemic, so it just kind of makes me go, oh, I don't want to hear about a sickness. Swine flu is attacking the North Pole. The function below determines how many elves have the swine flu, where T equals time in days, and S is the number of people in thousands. So then we have this function, S of T equals 9T minus 4. So how would I find S of T?
S of T?
Or S of 4.
Replace a T with 4.
Yeah, so it says 9T, but instead of T, I'm going to put parentheses 4 minus 4. So again, the one in parentheses is the one that goes inside the function. And then this is 9 times 4 is 36, minus 4, so that's 32. So S of 4 is 32, but what does that mean? What does that tell us about the swine flu and the elves? So this may take a little.
The number of people in thousands?
Yes. So how many people and how many, what's the 4 counting?
The days, time and days.
Okay, so in 4 days, there are how many people sick?
32,000.
Yeah. So it's you know, yes, these are numbers, but when we have if this is the model of something, then those numbers mean something. So the 4 is counting the days, and the 32 is people in thousands. So that's a lot of sick little elves.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, now this is find T when S of T equals 23.
So they give us Y, we had to find X.
They give us, this is the Y, and we need to find the X. So I'm going to take my function, and it's equal to 23. Let me see if I have a little bit. So what are we solving for? What letter?
For y, I mean for x. Okay.
Yeah, which is the t in this case. So what do I get rid of first?
The 4, so plus 4 on each side.
So I'm going to go plus 4, plus 4. Yeah, you look for the add, subtract, and do the opposite.
27.
The 4s cancel out. So I just have
90 equals 27.
So how much is t?
We have to divide by 9 on each side.
Yeah. So if we divide 9 and divide 9, let's see, divide 9, we get t equals 3. So I found the t is 3, and this is 23. So now what does that mean? What do those numbers mean?
What does st equal 23 mean?
So what is the 3?
That in days, in 3 days, there's 23,000 people sick.
Poor elves. Yeah. Yeah.
Right.
And so that's that much. Now, the graph is a little tricky because we've got these numbers. So here's the x. Which points do I have to graph?
For x?
Yeah. If it says graph this function, how am I going to graph it?
So would it, like for a, would it be 432?
Yeah, so we have this point 432. And then for C, we have a different point.
323.
Yeah, and that's really the data that we have is these 2 points. This one is a 4 with a 32 and then a 3 with a 23. So what I want to look first is the x's. What are the x's that I'm trying to graph?
The 4 and 3?
Yeah, so I'm just going to go ahead and count by 1. 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5, 6, 7, 8. I'm just going to go ahead and count by ones. It's kind of like a 6. But what y's do I have?
32 and 23.
Yeah, those are I can't fit those here until I'm going to count by something else.
You come by 10s, 5s.
Yeah, if I count by 5s, that's 10, 20, 30. I think I would count by 5s.
You mean by 10s?
Well, but each box is
Oh,
5.
okay, I see. Okay.
Yeah, 5, 10, 15, 20, 25, 30. I don't like to write all the numbers. So then at 2, I go up to 20 and then not quite to 25. And then at 4, I'm going to go to 30 and then add a little bit more for the 32. And that's basically what you have.
You mean for 3, you go up to 23, not 2?
Oh, 3. I did.
Yeah.
Oh, this one's. Let me go erase that one. Oh, I got it to erase the correct one.
Mhm.
Yeah, I mean, there is this line that goes through there. Something like that. If you wanted to graph the line, and I know it's gonna actually start down here at -4 because this is the y-intercept. And then the slope would be up 9 over 1, up 9 over 1. But basically trying to get those 2 points is the main issue. And you know, that's what there were mathematicians, and they probably still are there, trying to figure out the COVID. They're taking the data every day and mapping it onto a graph and seeing what kind of shape it makes, and what kind of model it's going to follow. So that's that little review sheet. There is another one that I have here. Let's see, that practice with domain and range. Sign back in.
Did you post that one on Google
No,
Classroom? Oh,
I did
okay.
not. When okay, trying to get back to that one here. Okay, I'm gonna have to. But it's a. Let me see if I can get to that one.